welcome again. Some of you may not be finished with your meal, and we encourage you to continue as we get underway with the program. The Southwestern College Business Hall of Fame was established in 2002 to honor alumni with significant achievements in business. It is the intent this Hall of Fame gives recognition and honor to those who excel in this field. And I'll introduce myself. I'm Kurt Kaiser, Business Division Chair, and I'm the MC of this illustrious event today, but I hesitate to use that term, MC, more of an edutainer, and we know who the mover and the shaker is behind this illustrious event, and that would be the fabulous, lovely, talented Susan Lowe. She organizes and sweats every detail. So I think this is my fourth time doing the Business Hall of Fame, and true story here, I'm telling you, that when nobody's looking, Susan will put me in one of these headlocks and do one of these noogie things on me. Don't screw it up, Kaiser. So, yes, ma'am. I would like to call your attention to the beautiful glass creations on the table behind me. These are one-of-a-kind awards will be given annually to Business Hall of Fame inductees. They are handcrafted by Mr. Scott Hartley, class of '97. A Southwestern science major who went on to use his artistic talents and his knowledge of science to become a master glassblower. We are fortunate to be able to give these unique gifts to our inductees to permanently remind them of their place in our Hall of Fame. Before we begin, we would like to recognize all previous Business Hall of Fame inductees or spouses of inductees who are here today. Please stand and receive our applause. Well, as I've noted to Susan many times and others as we talk about the Hall of Fame, I'm just flabbergasted each year because just the caliber of individuals associated with Southwestern College and what they go on to do with their lives. It's amazing. It really is. It's stunning and it's amazing. And like I said, referring to the display over there at Mossman Hall, if you just take time to look at that, and you can see it also in your program. So with that in mind, let's move on to the induction ceremony. And so our first individual to be inducted today, Todd E. Conklin, class of '84, has served in the human resource and reliability management and training arena at Los Alamos National Labs for the last 15 years. His strong background in delivering highly regarded and sought-after training on a national level has dovetailed with proven experience in personnel and labor relations, and he is a sought-after trainer and facilitator. His book, Simple Revolutionary Acts, Ways to Revitalize Yourself and Your Workplace, encourages the reader to become a positive deviant in the workplace. Conklin speaks on workplace humor and friendships, workplace violence, high-risk conflict organization development, and training for recognizing unusual behavior in the workplace. He has been a guest on National Public Radio's All Things Considered and Morning Edition, and is a 3-time finalist for the Publishers Clearinghouse giveaway. President Andrews and Todd, could you please approach the podium?
Maybe a nice big smile. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. It's an honor to be here. What a treat. I'm pretty excited. I was a little worried when they passed out handouts. Like, there's not a quiz or anything at the end of this, is there? Because it's a business division, and that worried me. So I come to you pleased and quite honestly honored, not for me, but for the other 2 people that are being inducted this year. This is quite an august body, and I feel pretty fortunate to get in there. I have a certain amount of confidence today that I probably wouldn't have had last week. I should probably tell you, I was teaching a class Thursday of last week. It was pretty brilliant. We were having a great time. I was working with a bunch of pretty high-level people. And in the middle of the class, a gentleman's cell phone rang. He was sitting about right where you are, right in the middle of the class. And the poor gentleman just was horrified that he forgot to silence his cell phone, and he was kind of trapped. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking back at him, and he's looking back at me, and he's not really doing anything, and his phone's ringing. And I think, well, maybe he doesn't know what to do. So I said, if you need to get that call, sir, you may. And he was visibly relieved. And he answered the telephone. The only problem is he didn't leave the room. It's a little bit of a problem. So he picks up the phone and he goes, hello? And then there's a pause, and he goes, I'm in this training. And there's kind of a pause, and he goes, it's all day. And that one had a blade in it. And then he said, I think the most interesting thing that I've probably ever heard in class, he said, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So that sort of bolstered my confidence and kind of brought me forward to really thank you for this honor. It's interesting because when Susan called me, I thought that there certainly had been some mistake, maybe a calculation error, a statistical error. I never took a business class. I'm not even sure where they were. I really don't. When I was in college here, we had one computer. It was kind of the sort of about a quarter of the second floor of Christie, and everybody would walk around campus with these big stacks of cards and hold them as if they were sacred treasures. And the order mattered, and I thought there's no way that I would even find that kind of interesting. I mean, it's a hard stretch for me at any level. And yet, my life's a little different, and the path I took had almost nothing to do with the path I started on. And I actually think that's a really important piece of information to share with the people at Southwestern. I want to say something that I want you to sort of hold on to, especially you MBA guys that are kind of moving through it. The enemy of the question is always the answer. And I want you to think about that, and then I want you to think about how what Southwestern does is not really provide you with the answers. What Southwestern does is teach you how to ask the questions. The most powerful place you'll ever be in, and I learned this early in my career here, is thirsty and curious and wanting more. As soon as the answer comes, you sort of shut the question off, but Southwestern, through its strong drive towards a liberal arts, a complete holistic education, really offered me the capability to go into the world and do whatever I wanted to do. And because it sort of took this weird turn towards business, something that I was horrified by when I was in actual undergraduate, I had enough capability because of this place to move forward. And that's really what I think Southwestern offers. I want to thank my family, my parents certainly. It was a huge sacrifice for me to come here. I want to thank all my friends. And I want you to remember that I was here during the early 80s, and nothing good really ever came out of the early 80s. Nothing. Nothing. We didn't have interesting movies. They were terrible. Music was weird. It was like post-disco. Like, I don't even know what to describe. But it was certainly fun to be here. And I think the capability, the capacity that I left this campus with was the capacity to really do anything I want to. And I think that's an important lesson, and it's helped me a lot. I won't take much more of your time other than to, again, thank you. I'm honored to be such a small part of this august body. Bruce and Ben are amazing people, and I think they have much to share. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you and congratulations again, Todd. Our next inductee, Benjamin S. Harrison, class of 2012, who has undergraduate degrees in communications and in clinical psychology, earned his MBA from Southwestern College in 2012. He had a lengthy military career that included service as a squad leader in the 29th Infantry Division and as a master recruiter. Harrison timed his SC degree completion to coincide with his military career completion, and after retirement from the Army, accepted a governmental post overseeing a district of financial institutions in the Mid-Atlantic region. Using skills learned at Southwestern, Harrison discovered fraud, which resulted in the termination of multiple employees and earned him and his agency accolades. After the unexpected deaths of his wife and mother in 2014, He is taking a strategic pause, traveling the world, and blogging on the dozens of countries he has visited. Benjamin, President Andrews, please approach the podium.
Thank you. I'm humbled and honored to be here. Never been to Kansas, so I'm from Virginia. We have sweet tea in Virginia, chocolate pie and barbecue. But if you want to know how to make your own sweet tea, you take a gallon of tea, put as much sugar in it as you can possibly fathom, and then double that amount, and you got your sweet tea. So, yeah, I grew up in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, near the Appalachian Trail in Virginia. In Lynchburg, went to Liberty University, which is there in Lynchburg, got my degree, joined the Army, and was the Recruiter of the Year in 2001. Had the good fortune of being stationed back in Lynchburg, my hometown, as a recruiter. And 6 weeks after getting that Recruiter of the Year award, was promoted to Master Sergeant, and that changed my life in a new direction. I was a sales and marketing manager for recruiters in D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Then I was sent to the Sergeant Major's Academy, where I graduated in Fort Bliss, Texas in 2008. Again, another change. I went into special operations for 4 years and retired in 2012. And I did decide to coincide the timing of my degree here with my military retirement, so that I'd have the latest information and latest business ideas. And it certainly got my foot in the door. I would not have been able to apply for the job that I got without my degree from Southwestern. And once I got my foot in the door, I was able to get the job because, one of the first questions they asked me, it was a board interview, and there was many applicants, I found out later, and they said, so tell us, how would your experience in financial analysis of financial institutions help you in this job? And of course, I had been in the military, had no experience at all in the civilian world, and I said, well, I don't have any direct experience. However, I just completed my MBA, and for the past 2 years, I've been studying financial analysis at Southwestern, was able to relay, and so that was the answer to a lot of my questions, but it did get me the job, and I was successful there for a couple years, and I did find fraud, and as he said, my life took another turn when tragedy struck. My wife of 21 years passed away, and as did my mom. So I quit my job, put everything in a backpack, sold my house and my cars, and got a one-way ticket to Europe. And I've been to 42 countries. I'll be in Moscow next week. And I now have a blog, if you want to jot this down, but I talked to President Andrews about his upcoming trip to Oslo and Bergen. I've been to both of those cities, so I was able to give him some insight. But my nickname is Benji, like the dog, and my last name is Harrison, like Harrison Ford. So my blog is benjiharrison.com, and I blog about my activities. So I hope to come back to work again as far as maybe recruiting for the MBA program online, because as far as I know, there was not a big presence. There's a lot of people from Liberty, that go online, but as far as Southwestern, I'd never met anyone else, and it was a great opportunity. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations again, Benjamin. Our next inductee, Bruce DeHaven, class of 1970, is one of the most celebrated special teams coaches in the National Football League. With 3 decades experience at this highest level, coaching at this level is big business. In fact, most business people do not have their work this highly scrutinized on national TV. Before he joined the NFL, though, DeHaven gained 12 years of coaching experience on the college and high school levels. He broke into pro coaching in the U.S. Football League, then joined the Buffalo Bills, where he led special teams from 1987 to 99 and 2010 to 12. During his 13 seasons with the Bills, DeHaven consistently produced outstanding special teams units and developed elite special teams players, notably Steve Tasker, 7 Pro Bowls, and kicker Steve Christie. In 2012, DeHaven Special Teams Unit set franchise records with an NFL-leading 17.1-yard punt return average. He also coached NFL teams in San Francisco, Seattle, and most recently, the Carolina Panthers. And Bruce DeHaven had surgery a few weeks ago and was not able to make the trip from New York to be here today, although he did create a video to express his thoughts. Accepting the award on his behalf is friend and classmate Joel Coles, class of '72.
I'm going to take notes to, or I have notes to kind of limit the time that I have. I'm an educator, so I know what attention span is. So why don't you take a quick drink, and so you can refocus and be ready to go. When I talked to Susan, I said, Susan, how much time do I have? And she said, just a few minutes. And I said, wow, asking me to speak just for a few minutes is similar to asking Kitty Valentine to take a couple things off the buffet, you know. And so I'm going to try to limit that to a few minutes. But what I want to share, and Bruce does have a video for us, but I want to share a little bit about Bruce that I think you need to know. And young people, I really hope that you listen to the two before and Bruce's story, because so many times we look and see where they are now and we don't appreciate the journey. And Bruce is a very humble person and selfless person. So I wanted to share a few things about Bruce. And I want you to understand that we, and I want to use that term we, are so appreciative of being able to recognize Bruce. And when I say we, Marcia, his sister's right here on the front row, and her husband Dennis, and a whole bunch of brothers from the family, and their partners are here. So this is a we thing. I just happen to be up in front and go from there. You know, I enjoyed yesterday, or day before yesterday, I guess it was, when President Andrews talked about the importance of beauty. And how important beauty is, and what we want to do is we want to share some beauty of Bruce with you today. Because in thinking back about this, I never remember. And you guys, I want you to think about this. Have you ever seen Bruce have a bad day? I have just never seen him have a bad day. And it's just amazing when you think about it. And right now he's going through some struggles, but you'll see on the video just how enlightening he is and go from there. Bruce is going to share a couple things on the video. One is he's going to start right off about our mascot and the change of the mascot. But I want you to know it's bigger than a picture. What he's going to talk to you about, and not necessarily in his words, but it's the belief, it's a family that we've established. And it's also, he'll use the word trust. And that trust is such a big part of what Southwestern is to him, and that. And one of the second things he'll share about is why was he inducted to the Business Hall of Fame. And I wanted to share with you that is he's probably in as big a business as you're going to find with major college football or NFL football and that. But it didn't start there, young people. See, it started him graduating from Southwestern College with an education degree and playing sports and the camaraderie that he gained. You shared about playing basketball and then the camaraderie he gained from that. Matter of fact, I wore this tie in his honor because this is a basketball that's close to me. I never got to touch the ball very much playing with Bruce and some of the other guys here, so I kind of wanted to make sure that I had that close to me. But let me share the honor, the journey a little bit. It started out at Oxford, Kansas, right over here, where he's a middle school coach, but he had a vision. And he was a middle school teacher, but he was the CEO of the junior high football and basketball teams. And then he became a high school coach. He moved on to Wichita Southeast, and that was because of connections of former Southwestern people. See, never forget those connections, and they got him connected. Then he took a chance. He took a job at KU for literally nothing. And to get his foot in the door, and that paid off later. So I'm talking to you young people. okay? Because that is so important to understand. You can't have it right now. It's that journey that we go, and Bruce did. And so after KU, he went to New Mexico State. Then he got in the NFL because of a connection. And the next 3 years, he coached at the New Jersey Generals, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and the Orlando Magic, which some of us may not even remember those teams. But then he was led. They folded, and he's in Florida without a job, and all of a sudden Marv Levy, the Buffalo Bills, had seen him coach football with the New Jersey Generals and said, hey, would you come and work with our team in the exhibition season? No guarantees of a job. Would you come and just kind of help us out? And Bruce showed up to do that, and at the end of the exhibition season, he didn't know if he had a job or not, but when they all got on the plane to fly back, he just jumped on the plane. Okay, and so 13 years of that, and then he moved on to San Francisco, and then the Dallas Cowboys, and then the Seattle Seahawks, then back to Buffalo, and now where he is today. But I want you to understand that journey and this award. It just doesn't come when I'm thinking of those two guys right there, and I hate to always I'm hesitant to name names, but in talking to Jim Farney, and you might see his name around campus a little bit, and when he bought a $5 tennis racket here to start his journey here, and you know, he wasn't born and wasn't given that position where he is today. And that Richard L. Jantz Stadium, you know, he slept on my couch because he didn't have money enough for a motel room. Okay? So young people, it's a journey that we want to go, and one of the things about the beauty thing is what I see in today's time. I get to work with a lot of young people. It seems like some want to go through life with a catcher's mitt on both hands. You know, they're constantly wanting to receive things, but they don't want to give things. Well, look at what giving. Look what these people are giving back to Southwestern College. And that's what I want you to understand Bruce does. He's a giver. Now, the last part, and I'm going to cut it short, but the last part that Bruce will talk about in the video is he talks about having one sister and a whole bunch of brothers. And young people, this is before social media 50 years ago. Okay, I was asking these guys why they're here today. Why did you choose Southwestern College? And everybody had their own reason to come here, but nobody knew one another. So whatever it was to be, for all of us to show up on campus and then start a camaraderie, a thing of beauty that has lasted 50 years. See, young people, we meet every year here. And we have camaraderie, and we're getting better every year too, okay? And I want you to understand that. But it's that beauty of fellowship and friendship that Bruce talks about, and go from there. So I really want you to understand the importance of this. You know, Bruce leaves us with some really, really special things. One is that thing of relationship building. That's what has got him through life and that teaching. He'll have a video here, but if you get online and see his video with CBS television right before the Super Bowl, and they ask him, well, you know, what's next? He said, man, I just hope I get a chance to go out at practice and work with those young people again, because I love what I do. So please enjoy Bruce's video. Thank you for honoring him today. Please catch Marcia afterwards, his sister, and congratulate her. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The very first thing I'd like to do is to apologize that I can't be with you here today. I had been very much looking forward to being present, but my doctor was insistent that I wasn't going to be able to travel, and so we'll have to do with this visual instead. There's a couple of things that my alma mater's done lately that I don't understand. The first was changing what might be the greatest mascot in the history of American college sports, the Jinx, and the second thing was telling me that I was going to be inducted to the Business Hall of Fame. Had it been the Athletic Hall of Fame, which I was very honored to have been inducted back in the 90s, I could understand. However, I think those of you out there that actually saw me play basketball back in the 60s would understand that I wasn't inducted for my play as a basketball player at Southwestern, but rather for having spent some time in the National Football League. I would certainly like to thank Dr. Andrews and Susan Lowe, who's been ramrodding this deal for me, for being included in this Hall of Fame class. I'm just hopeful that even though this was a bit of a surprise to me, that this Hall of Fame deal may work out very well for me. When I was coaching in Buffalo back in the 90s, we had a quarterback named Jim Kelly that was a really good quarterback. And after I had left Buffalo and spent about 10 years in some other places around the National Football League, he got inducted into to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And when I'd returned to Buffalo, the first time I saw Jim, since he'd been inducted, I said, "So Jim," I said, "how's this work?" I said, "Have you been able to make a living being a Hall of Famer?" And he said, "Yeah, pretty much. I don't know whether I'm gonna be able to do as well as Jim did with this Hall of Fame induction, but my hopes are that maybe this will help fund my retirement." I want to thank some people that are here today. Susan Lowe, especially our alumni director, who's been very instrumental in putting all this together. Once again, Dr. Andrews for giving me this honor. My sister, Marcia Wyckoff, and her husband Dennis are here today, and I certainly want to thank them for attending. Dennis, I think, always wished that he had been an alumni of Southwestern College, so I know that he's very pleased to be here. My family won't be here today. They're back here in Buffalo with me, but I certainly want to thank my wife, Kathy, my son, Toby, and my daughter, Annie Maud. They've spent the last 20 to 30 years chasing me around the country and allowing me to do what I do, to the point where I might get enough recognition that I would be here today. And without them, I would never have been able to have done this. There's two things that happened to me in my life that were very significant. The first I had really nothing to do with, and that was being born in a farming community out in western Kansas into a family where my mom and dad were church-going people, very moral people, hard-working people that between them and growing up on a farm in this community, that I learned the value of hard work and got a strong moral compass that I think that's done me well throughout my life. Probably the second thing that happened to me that maybe I had a little bit more choice in, but I'm not sure just how much, was attending Southwestern College. I was recruited down here to Southwestern College by the great Bud Elliott to play football, and we discovered fairly soon that I wasn't tough enough to be a football player, that I got shuffled over into basketball. And here at Southwestern, I owe this school a great deal of thanks, because what I am today is a great deal is owed to them. Southwestern College gave me a great liberal arts education, even the introduction to arts and music classes, which at the time seemed to be a little bit of a stretch. I now can look back and see that even that was a great part of my education. I think that at Southwestern College, that they taught us how to think here, taught us to question those things that we didn't understand. This was not that gave you a very liberal arts education, that you really came out of this school without being radicalized one direction or another that you see so much in politics today. I think this country would be a lot better off if all of our politicians had got their education at Southwestern College and had somehow learned to work together. I'm very thankful for this liberal arts education, and also very thankful that I got to spend time in the education department here, that becoming a teacher on my way out of school, that learning the theories of teaching and education has put me in very good stead in the profession that I chose, the coaching profession, which is really only just teaching. And I've often thought that I had a great advantage over many of the guys that I competed against over the last 30-some years, simply because many of them didn't have an education background, that they had a physical education background or something else, and that learning how to go into the classroom and teach has been extremely valuable to me. When you look back at my education at Southwestern College, the classroom, the credits, the education you got were very important, but I think that the great thing about Southwestern College was even more so than the education I got was the personal relationships that I was able to have while I was here and maintain over many years. I've got a friend that I've worked with for the last probably 15 or 20 years that we often start talking about. You'd be very fortunate as you go through life if you had one or two people outside your family that you could trust with anything, that you could trust them with your family, with your money, whatever it might be. I'm very fortunate. I have a lot more people that I would count on that I could trust, and these all came from my relationships that I did foster while I was in school here. If you were to look at my family history, you would see that my parents, Merle and Jiggs DeHaven, had a son and a daughter. But it'd be wrong to look at that. I had one sister, but I have many, many, many brothers. All of them here at Southwestern College, and I know that a number of them were going to be here today, and I think some of them still have showed up. Guys like Miller Jantz, my roommate in college, that probably lived about as many years with him sometimes it seems as I have my wife Kathy. K9 Valentine lived next door to me for years and years and has been a very good friend. Hokey Joe Coles, who I still have to thank for taking over the speech for me when I was inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Riley Requa, played basketball with him 4 years in college, a great friend. Hawk Templer, who was like a dad to me in college. Chuck Haig, who was like a son to me. Pop Rapp, who I think may have saved my life down at the Grand Terrace in Arc City one night. Bailey Howell, a great friend that taught me a lot about what it meant to be a Beta Rho Mu in this fraternity while I was here at Southwestern. And Buck Ewart and his wife Anita, who I owe a great deal of thanks to. They helped me get through my first year of coaching here in Oxford, Kansas, just down the road here, and forgave me when I stood up with them in their wedding for being the only one in the wedding party that had a pair of brown shoes when everybody else was wearing black shoes. And then there's those that aren't here today. Kid and his wife Jackie, who was as much a part of our group as anybody. Ship, Lou, Strano, and many, many more. This has been a great honor for me, being inducted into the Business Hall of Fame. I am so much wish that I could be here today, but I want you to know that though I'm not here in person, I am here in spirit. Thank you very much.
Well, congratulations again to Bruce, and thanks for those kind words, Joe. Thank you. Well, moving on to the Business Builder Award. The Business Builder Award was created for the purpose of recognizing and honoring business leaders, not necessarily alumni, who have created jobs, supported community institutions, and through their hard work and civic contributions have made a lasting impression on their community. Southwestern is proud to acknowledge persons who have dedicated their careers to strengthen business, and this year's Business Builder has certainly fulfilled that role. The 2016 recipient of the Business Builder Award is Galaxy Technologies. Galaxy Technologies, formerly Galaxy Tool, was founded in 1985 in a small building with 4 employees. Galaxy started as a manufacturer of injection and blow molds for local companies such as Rubbermaid and Coleman. Today, owned by Gladstone Investments, Galaxy has expanded to become one of the largest tooling manufacturers in the country. Located in the Winfield Industrial Park, it employs 140 engineers, machinists, and various other skilled laborers. In 2015, Galaxy completed its most recent expansion of 35,000 square feet, adding one of the largest 5-axis CNC milling machines in the country. In the 1990s, Galaxy entered the business, commercial, and military aerospace markets, and now is supporting NASA and Boeing on the Orion and SLS space programs. In 2014, Galaxy was awarded the Governor's Award of Excellence. Accepting this award on behalf of Galaxy Technologies is Paul Maples. Paul, President Andrews, could you approach the podium, please?
Thanks, everyone, and all those involved with the business program. Thank you very much. Thanks, Susan. Thank Dr. Andrews for awarding Galaxy this award. I had a boss one time that told me, always keep a speech in your hip pocket. It's not a long speech, but I want to make sure and cover some important things that have gone on with our business. First, I'm honored to accept this recognition for Galaxy on behalf of all the past and present employees of the company. Without them, the success of our business would not have been achievable. Over the past 30 years, Galaxy has grown from 4 entrepreneurs with a dream to start a small tooling business here in Winfield to today employing over 140 highly skilled workers that are manufacturing tooling and fixtures for some of the most recognizable companies in the world. I believe that success relates directly to the quality of our community, our education system, and the hard work ethic found here in the Midwest. The availability of higher education is important to the success of any business, and currently at Galaxy, over 15% of our workforce either graduated or attended classes here at Southwestern. And I know the quality of education they received here at Southwestern is high. My wife is a Builder alumni, and I hear from time to time where I rank in the pecking order of education and learning in our household. During my life, the last 30 years of my life at Galaxy, there's been many changes and choices we've had to make. And we didn't all get together, but I've heard that theme today from every speaker. It changes, everything's changed from where they first started. And that's very important for those in the business program to understand and to learn. Some of these paths I'll share with you. The first decision was the 4 original owners, the entrepreneurs. They left their secure jobs, risked all their financial belongings to follow their dream of starting their own business. And in the first 10 years, they were very successful. Our customers in the beginning, like mentioned, was Gott and now Rubbermaid. And for some of those in Winfield, but not all, probably don't realize this, but every time a coach has a Gatorade cooler dumped on his head, that is 100% Winfield manufactured. Galaxy built the molds for those Gatorade coolers, and Rubbermaid runs that product here in town. The only place that makes the Gatorade cooler. That carried through for about the first 10 years. Then in the 90s, there started to see some competition. So we had to make a change and choose another path, not forgetting our mold business, but to continue to grow the company. And we chose aerospace manufacturing. From 90s till up until now, we've been in the aviation market, has been our leading product line. We've had to make changes due to changes in the business jet market, the military market from time to time, and the large commercial industry. But with those changes, it requires continuously learning new customers, new products, and new businesses. So you never quit learning and choices as you make in business. And today we're starting our new path, our new journey in our company history as we enter into the space market. As mentioned, we've finished our last expansion in 2015, added one of the largest milling machines in the central part of the United States outside of California and Detroit. And we've started manufacturing tooling for the Space Launch System and the Orion capsule. In 2030, these two items will carry the first manned mission to Mars. And even though we've taken all these different paths, Galaxy hasn't forgotten where we came from. We could still sit with the guys at Rubbermaid and look at next year's cooler product line and how we can change that. And in the next month, we might be down at Cape Canaveral discussing what we need to do on the next fixture or die to help with the space launch. So one message I hope to relay to the students that are here in the audience today, as you begin your new careers, you'll have many paths to choose from, and each one offering a chance to learn and expand your knowledge. But don't forget where you started, and that will lead you to success over your career and the path you choose. Thanks again for this recognition today from Galaxy, and congratulations to the other inductees on your success and your achievement that brought you here today. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Paul. Thank you for coming to this celebration of business at Southwestern College. We look forward to having this rich tradition of mound builder excellence continue. If you know any outstanding business alumni who qualify to be inducted into the SC Business Hall of Fame, we hope you will fill out the form in your program booklet and let us know. Meanwhile, plan to stay for the Educators Hall of Fame, which follows in this location beginning at 3:30 today. While on campus, we encourage you to visit Dartmouth Fine Arts Center to see the exhibit of art class creations by Scott Hartley, the alumnus who creates our Hall of Fame awards. The exhibit is open today and will run through noon on April 21st. And we hope you will attend the special entertainment this evening in Richardson Performing Arts Center when John McCutcheon, in concert with South Kansas Symphony, will be performing. Tickets are still available. And again, I thank you all so much for coming to this event today. It's been great. And once again, I have to thank the goddess of Southwestern College, Susan Lowe.